So the idea of this program is to improve your performance over the year, see if you've made any improvements. Um, and you can get to this thing called boat performance. And if you look, it says from this particular date to that particular date. So it's looking from 20th March 24 to 20th March 25, all the races that we've had. And currently it's looking at speed over ground. So that's the speed picked up by the GPS system, ignoring tides and everything else. So it's not speed through the water, it's speed over the ground. The color scheme is the green is the best boat on each as we go through the calendar. The worst is the red boat, and the average is the yellow, and the blue is my boat. If you look at the top here, we've got boat Kingfisher. I can only select Kingfisher, so I can't look at anybody else's. So actually the speed, if I look at the speed, it doesn't look too bad. I'm above average most of the time. I've never dipped below the average. So my speed is probably okay. If I now click up here, I can look at speed made good, which is the speed in the direction, the useful speed towards the next buoy. So it's whether you're sailing efficiently or not. Not too bad again. Pretty similar picture really. And then I come down here to tacking angle. I'm going to go for next. So tacking angle, if we look at the left-hand side here, we've got 70, 80, 90, 100. Well, nobody can tack at 70, but the best boat here has been tacking at between 80 and, well, 80 has been there, sort of 80 and 90 is a good tacking angle. The worst person has been up here, this red line. The average is the yellow, and my boat is blue again. And you can see I'm now sort of below average. And I can correlate this to what I did halfway through the season last year. I decided to take the kicker off and just sail the boat with a fairly loose kicker. So when I was tightly hauled, it was the main that was bringing the tension in, if you like. As I brought the main in, it put tension on the forestay. So it sort of did the same job as a kicker, but it definitely was perhaps one of the reasons why I wasn't tacking so high. And just look at the speed as well, tack speed. So I'm blue. The best here is just somebody is dropping 0.3 of a knot there, or 0.1 of a knot. No one's actually exceeded the speed they went into the tack. But the green one is pretty good there. Me being blue, not very good. A couple of ones that I did okay, but I've sort of dropped off again. So I'm looking at two things to improve really this year. One is the tacking angle, if I go back to that, to see if I can get my blue line closer to the green line and get a narrower angle. So with that in mind, I thought we'd look at a particular race and see what the consequences of that are. So I've gone to the Blue Fleet Yawls.
Mike, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. I tried putting my hand up. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm looking at my full screen, so no, sorry.
Okay, all right. Those previous graphs, when it had best and worst and so on, presumably they were different boats for each race that was best and worst, not necessarily the same boat.
Quite right, yes. I think that's right, isn't it, Darius?
Yeah, that would be the best boat in that particular race.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So here we have, so if we look at the screen, I've selected a leg. In this section here, I can select the whole race or a particular leg. So got leg buoy 3 the first time we go around it, to buoy 2 the second time we go around it. I've just to keep it simple, I've selected 3 boats: Y15, Y152, which is Darius, and Y68, which is Chris, Skillhorn, and Ollie. And then if we look over here, I've selected the leg. Here's 3 to 2. These are the 3 boats. Just the boats I've selected are shown here. We'll forget this for the moment. And then if we look at the chart over here, we can see the particular conditions on the day. Let me go to notes. So we had high water at 4 o'clock roughly. It was sort of neapish, wasn't it? 4 meters, not a very strong current. But whereas the tide's coming in, the wind is also coming in. I think it said the wind starts off at southwest and becomes more sort of southerly as it goes on. So coming from 3 going to 2, we're fighting the current. It's not a very strong wind, and you can see that I've done. You can see my track is the light blue one. The white one is Darius, and the grey one is Chris and Ollie. So pretty different patterns. The outstanding sort of thing you can see straight away is that Ollie's done a few attacks. So if I go along on this chart, the data here to attacks, I can see that I've done 31 and Ollie's done 16 in that leg. Darius has done 25 in the middle. My attacking angle was 112, Darius was 109, and Y68 was 94. Now that sort of correlates because the higher you can sail, the further you can sail out from the shore into the current before you hit the bad current. So if you look at how far Ollie's going out, he's not really going out any further than me or Darius, but he is spending longer on each tack. So if your tacking angles are wide like mine were, I had to keep tacking backwards and forwards. I think the saving grace was that my speed was quite fast. So if we look at max average speed, here we are. Average speed over ground. So actually I'm the fastest one there, 3.26. So I'm sailing flatter and going faster, but zigzagging all the way. So I think this is a very interesting insight. I hadn't appreciated that I was tacking so often, and there have been a few other races where I see exactly the same pattern. So for me, this is an interesting insight into the way I'm being sailing. Is it to do with my boat setup, or is it to do with the way I'm actually sailing? Let me just play that sequence. I've got the setting to offset, which means we all start at the buoy together rather than in real time. So this is Darius, Chris and Ollie and myself all starting at the same time. We're going 1 time speed at the moment. Let me just speed it up. So we all leave that buoy at the same time. It's been adjusted. So Ollie's just stretching out each time. Look at that, just shoots ahead. Oh, I think he ran aground there. And there's massive. The other thing which is really interesting is that as you come out into the current, the line stays straight. You don't get sort of knocked back. I've yet to find a good explanation of that, but there we are. So that's how I used. That's how how useful this program is. So I've definitely got a mission this season to look at my tacking angles. It may require change in the setup of the boat. For example, I think I'll probably put the kicker back on again and try and sail it a little bit tighter to the wind, and see if I can get a little bit more out of each tack before I need to tack back into the shore.
Just talk about the kicker, because I mean, you mentioned you were using main sheet rather than kicker to bring the sail in,
yes,
boom in. My understanding of the difference between them is if you don't have any kicker, you're going to open the leach a lot more compared to using the kicker.
Yes.
So if you don't have kicker but you still bring the boom in, you can have a much more open top part of the sail, a lot more twist. Whereas if you put some kicker on, you're reducing twist.
Depends where you've got the main sheet. If you've got the main sheet, the bit at the back, what do you call it? The horse.
The horse.
Yeah.
If you've got that fairly tight, it'll pull the rig into tension, and you'll lose the bend in the top of the sail. It does sort of do a very similar sort of thing, and as you pull away, as you bear away, it certainly accelerates the boat a lot more. So it does actually suit sailing fast and low. But I think, I'd rather do 16 tacks than 35 next time. I'm sure Nicky would prefer to as well.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the track at around Ditch End, if you look at you and me, we're sort of doing those big zigzags, whereas Ollie seems to be making progression without much change. I mean, that says it all, really. Those ones.
Yeah, see, he's using.
Yeah, it does.
It's always like a sawtooth, isn't it? One tack is better to be on, is the making tack, than the other one. So for Ollie, coming out from the shore was a short tack, and then going back in was a long tack. But that changed over a bit, I think.
So do you think he's getting shifts there, or just sailing better, or both?
He's definitely using shifts. He's definitely using shifts, I think.
Yeah. Whereas if you were like a bit like me, oblivious to shifts, you're sort of going in and out based on, I'm going to go out a bit, now I'm going to go in a bit.
Yes.
You're sort of, if you're not playing the shifts, you're not getting that degree of reduction in tacking.
Well, and his tacking angle. If his tacking angle is so tight, isn't it? In comparison, he's getting everything right.
must be tacking on shifts to have such a low tacking angle.
Yeah, and remember that these.
So he's not being forced out.
Yeah, this is an offset. We've overlaid the track, so they're not experiencing the same wind at exactly the same time on this chart. But there's a general trend which does suggest that he is tacking when he perceives the wind's changed, rather than Darius and me. I mean, I'm tacking when I run into the ground, and I'm tacking when I run into the current. And because, because I'm tacking at such a low angle, I'm going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And I'm losing.
The other thing, Mike, is he's got clear air. I mean, the leader has always got that a massive advantage when you're close tacking. He's got clear air. Yeah. So he's not got any chopped up air there, assuming there's another boat behind him. And that makes a massive difference. Yeah.
There's a squiggle see my little squiggle there, the S. I'm pretty sure I was tacking against somebody else at that particular point. I didn't go all the way back in. I sort of turned and then turned again. Have you got any of those like that? Darius, you had a funny little squiggle there. Point just there.
Yeah, just near the near
the start line. Yeah.
Near the start line, it looks like I probably had to tack off the starboard boat.
Yeah, and Ollie went to ground here.
Yes, and that screwed up his tacking angles. They'd have been even better without that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is so interesting, isn't it? That as you come out into the current, the lines stay exactly the same. You'd expect them to bear away, wouldn't you? and it's at that.
I reckon he's got more pressure though, Mike. I think what's happening is getting more pressure, and then therefore getting lifted off of the foil. The center, wherever he's working more efficiently at that point. I'm guessing, but that's what I think would be happening there.
But I've seen it just about on every sort of sequence like this. Going up into the current, tacking into the current close to shore. These lines don't seem to change. They don't bear away. It's fascinating. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. And I hope I can improve my tacking next year. So I won't be buzzing around so much, hopefully.
No pressure, Mike.
Well, I certainly got more silverware the year before last than this year. So I didn't get any this year. But I think this is really interesting. So I'm going fast. So if you look at on the distance I covered, let's look at distance. By the way, you can click on these columns and it reorders them. So we got Y68 covered the less ground. I did almost 350 meters more on that leg. Ollie was sailing, so that's my efficiency was low, whereas Ollie's was quite high, and that's a really good, looking at efficiency is really quite interesting. This is this chart down here, efficiency. So you can see that Ollie, the dark one, is generally more efficient. So he's covering less ground than the other guys on that chart.
Yeah.
Which helps if even if going a bit slower, you'll probably get there quicker. What was the difference? So overall elapsed time is here on the whole course. So Ollie did it in 1 hour, 2 minutes, and I was 12 minutes, 14 minutes after him. And Darius was only a few seconds later than me. If you look at the speed, average speed over ground, I was 3.2. Actually, Ollie was fastest overall, 3.04. I was a bit faster than Darius.
Yeah, pretty slow. That was the first day of the September Open, wasn't it? So it was pretty light winds.
It was light winds, yeah. Okay, so I mean, it's definitely worth going in and having a look at your own tracks, and then over the year, looking at whether you've improved. We should have, if you record the heel angle as well, that will be in there. I think it's another thing you can select on my boat. Boat performance, heel angle. Obviously.
Oh, where is that? I hadn't clocked that. Where is? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there'll be nothing for last season because Estella didn't gather heel angles.
Didn't have it.
So from this year, if you remember, there's if I just share my screen, I see my phone.
Yeah.
So when you start tracking, use phone sensors for boat heading and heel.
Got it.
So if you turn that off, then it's not calculated. You can just chuck your phone into your dry bag, and it doesn't matter where it is. If you include using your phone sensors, then the data will only be accurate if the phone is level and pointing forward. So you probably want it in a dry bag with a bit of Velcro on either on a floorboard or on the thwart, facing forwards, and then the boat heel and the heading will be recorded as well. What will really mess things up is if you tick that on and then don't bother to orientate the phone, and then the data will be all over the place. So I think the trick will be either turn that on and do a good job of orientating the phone, or leave it turned off. Otherwise, it's going to skew the results in the comparisons.